Welcome Strategy Battle Gamers to another GBHL YouTube video. You're here with your host, GBHL Tom.
And GBHL Damian.
And we're not here for an episode of the Palantir.
No. Hooray.
Yeah, we are here for more self-promotion. No, we thought it'd be a good idea to take you through the tournament pack for our upcoming tournament, the Seven Stones, which, if you hadn't guessed, the Seven Stones are the Palantir.
I did.
You didn't get it?
I don't know, that's clever.
Yeah, it was a stroke of genius, wasn't it? So here is the tournament pack all printed.
Indeed, this is our tournament preview.
Yes.
So obviously the pack is online. If you want to, I know a lot of you have signed up and a lot of you have paid already, so thank you very much.
Yeah.
But we thought there's a couple of weird things that are going on, and we actually, when we were writing the pack, there was a couple of things that we had to write in a kind of tournament legalese almost, that we thought it would be quite handy for you to hear human beings talk through.
Yes, we are human beings.
We are just about human beings. Because I think that might make things a little clearer. But
yes,
there is also there's potentially spaces available. At the moment, there's been a few kind of dropouts and there's still a few unconfirmed. So if you are interested in going to this tournament at the moment or after this video, then pop over to the event page on the Facebook GBHL Facebook group, which is Seven Stones a doubles tournament, and just make a comment on the pinned post and we'll put your name on the reserves list.
Yeah, we have got through one reserve already.
Got through two teams, yeah, like one team couldn't make it, so the second reserve team are now on the list. So there's definitely a chance that you can get on if you are still interested. Yes,
and the date, just so you know, is the 24th and 25th of May, which is a Sunday and Monday because it's a bank holiday weekend in the UK. And it's located at the Titans Wargaming Club, which is in West Finchley, which is kind of outskirts of London.
Yeah, Wembley way.
Yes, the postcode is N31NX if you're wanting to look it up on Google Maps.
No one's doing that.
Or other maps are available.
Other map services are available.
Yeah, there
you could use Apple Maps and not find anything.
Cool. So, so I mean, hopefully there are some interesting bits in here, just if you aren't coming to the tournament, maybe some of the custom stuff that's in here that might be interesting to some people.
Yeah, absolutely. There's two custom scenarios.
Yes.
Which we'll talk you through and sort of explain our thinking, and we've modified. We've made a big modification to one and a small modification to another one. But yeah, also the fundamental point of it is fun. Yes. I think that's quite important, that everything you read in this.
I think that's from the ethos of Titans Wargames Club anyway. Their tournaments, the big ethos from them is on fun.
As themed forces,
and themed events. So yeah, we kind of stole that a little bit from Chris and Damian because their events are really cool.
Yeah, and then we took it to the next level of theme and stupidity. Yes.
And we put a lot of time into the rule pack actually, just to kind of make it look nice and professional. Given that we do the magazine, we wanted to kind of show that we weren't numpties when it came to writing stuff.
Bit of numpties.
Yes.
So, shall we crack on?
Yes.
So, to enter, simply no.
No, do not read.
So yeah, it's £40 per team.
Yes. So £20 each.
Correct.
Strong maths.
This is why we need to do the video, stuff like that.
Yeah.
FAQs.
FAQs.
How much does it work out per person? But yeah, that's payable via PayPal to sbgmagazine@gmail.com. Thank you to those who have already paid. Those who haven't paid, stop paying. What are you doing?
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to get to the club. In terms of accommodation, there are a few options. There's a local B&B called the Chumley Lodge. Which we've frequented before. It's a B&B.
It's a B&B.
That's probably the best.
We are, to give you some idea, we are staying there.
Yes.
But it's a bed for the night. It'll get you by. There's also, and that's walking distance. That's about a 10-minute walk from the venue.
Yes.
But there's also is it Premier Inn or Holiday Inn?
Holiday Inn, I think.
Holiday Inn.
That's not too far.
Probably more like a half-hour walk. But
you'd probably want to get a taxi.
Yeah, obviously if you have a car, it'd be fine. But that's quite local. Yes. Details of them are in the pack.
Yeah, in terms of whilst you're there, in terms of lunches, the hall doesn't have any facilities for cooking, so we're not providing food. It's not as easy as, say, Stockport. But yeah, there are the High Street, Finchley High Street's about 10 minutes walk maximum away.
People tend to get a KFC or a Subway. That sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a Tesco that you could pick up stuff from if you don't want junk food.
So. My top tip for this, because it's a 2-day tournament, it's probably easy to do on Sunday, is if I were you, I would bring some form of packed lunch on Sunday.
That's what we did last time, and we found that worked a lot better.
Swing by Tesco's or something in the morning, pick up a sandwich, and bring that along. That's what I tend to do for the Titans tournaments.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so then there's some jargon on the stuff you need to bring to every tournament, like
sportsmanship, be nice to each other.
Yeah, bring your models, bring your tape measures, bring your dice, bring your army list. Proxies. So we say that conversions are very much encouraged.
Conversions, absolutely.
So I think from our point of view, it's all on, is it cool? Yes or no? Has effort been put in? Yes or no? So if you do want to do any sort of proxies, just drop us a note, and we will definitely, if it looks cool and if you put some effort into a conversion, then we're gonna say yes.
I think Tom's key word there is conversion, isn't it? So if we'll lean towards Games Workshop models, I think, rather than other range proxies, but converting Games Workshop models into other Games Workshop models, fabulous.
Yes. Well, you can use other pieces. I don't see any problem with. I mean, if it looks what it's meant to look like, then by all means.
So, but yeah, if you want to do anything like that, just please send us a photo.
Yes.
But everyone knows what this means these days, and I don't think there'll be any problems.
No. Okay, so in terms of rules queries throughout the day, just ask us if you're getting into any bother, but really, it's meant to be a fun tournament. Just roll the dice all over it.
Roll the dice, get over it.
Get over it, yeah.
You're probably wrong.
Yeah.
Both of you.
Yeah.
All four of you.
Yeah, or just look it up in the community FAQ. Be there. And
it's all there.
It's all there. Games are all played on a 4x3 board, so that means we've not talked about the points yet, but it does mean that you should. Oh no, so 4x. Yeah, this
is 4x3. 4 foot wide, 3 foot across.
With the exception of one scenario, which we'll come on to later.
Oh yes.
But yes, that means that your army should be quite close together to start with.
And we've deliberately done this again. It's doubles.
Yeah.
We might as well talk about game length. It's 1 hour 45.
Yes, for how many points?
800 total.
Points, so 400 each.
Yeah, so it's doubles, 800 points. We're talking about this in totally the wrong order. Just going through the tournament. But an hour 45 I think is all right for doubles. With 800
you're both
points.
Moving them, you're both rolling dice to win the fight.
And I think that'll be plenty. And the fact that you're only 3 foot apart.
There's not going to be that much shooting to start with. It's not a huge board to come across.
You have less board to cover, which I think is important. Yeah,
because I think it is a bit more fun when you're on a smaller board in terms of getting stuck in.
Yeah,
getting
absolutely.
Going.
And that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
I also think if people are getting into the spirit of things, and I have to say, from the army list we've seen, people are already very much getting into the spirit of things. So thank you. There's going to be less armies that are like, right, I'll stand here and then I'll move 3 inches away and then I'll move 3 inches away, so it won't be an issue anyway. That's the hope.
Yes. Cool. So, the schedule. So, games does open at 9 AM on the Sunday, and the first game will start at 10 AM, and that is Reconnoiter. So yes, in terms of the registration, all that entails really is showing up with your doubles partner, giving us your army list. You should nominate on there one thing that we'll talk about later, but otherwise it's just your normal army list. We kind of trust you to have an army list that's legal.
Yeah, we'll check them on the day, but you don't need to submit them in advance.
No need to submit in advance. And yeah, I mean, if there is something illegal about your army list, but it's still cool, we're not going to chuck you out. You just won't be able to win. Cool. Yeah. So then the games are now 11:45. So that first game will take us to 11:45. Then just before lunch, everyone's going to display their armies. Why are they going to display their armies, Damian?
Is it 2 reasons, or are we doing that on Sunday? It's just the one reason. The one reason is because there is an award. Not just an award, actually, but...
Well, it's for both reasons, isn't it?
Yeah, there's 2 benefits for bringing a themed army. So, can't think of any words. The point of the tournament is to encourage people to bring really cool themed armies, fluffy armies, fun armies, perhaps things you don't normally see. And so what we're going to do is on the Saturday lunchtime you display them, and me and Tom are going to go around and we are going to pick then our 5 favourite themed ones.
Yes.
Or like have a look at them, and then we're going to decide throughout the day one, which 5 we think are our favourites.
Yes. Totally subjective.
Yep.
Now this is kind of our way of doing a kind of the German scenes. You must bring themed armies. I mean, we're not saying you must. We're just saying you should.
There is a strong incentive to.
Yes.
And we'll kind of get onto the incentives when we get to them in the pack.
Yeah.
But that's what that primarily,
Yes.
that army display thing is going to be for. So we can
Yes.
have a look around during the lunch break.
But everyone else can have a look at them for best army, but the voting will be the day after. So you'll have a chance to set your army up again the day after. Because it would be cool to show off your armies to everybody.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily get time to look around every time. Cool, so then lunch will take us through to 1:45, and then we'll pick up on game 2, which is to the death, which is modified. So should we jump to that bit of the pack, or do you want to go through that
Get
later?
onto that later.
Okay, but we have modified it very slightly. Then from 2:30 till 4:15 is a custom scenario called Save the Stone, more on that later. And then finally, from 4:30 till 6:15 will be game 4, which is the Arena of Champions.
And that's our other custom scenario.
That's our other custom scenario. After that, you'll have 45 minutes to kind of pack up and get yourself to the pub for a pub quiz. And we booked out the Catcher in the Rye pub.
Yep.
And we booked the kind of normal function bit that we have, but because there's so many people, there's going to be hopefully 24 teams. So that's 48 people, plus there's 3 in ours, so that's 49 people. 49 people shoved in this pub, so we booked a bit of extra
I like
space.
that now everyone just thinks we're cheating, because we've got a 3-person team.
No, one of us will be giving the quiz. And it's not us two.
Oh, I thought you meant in our playing team.
Oh, in our playing team. No, so how it's going to work is that Damian and I will both rotate who's not going to be playing a game, and we'll be kind of wandering around the hall. And Lily's going to play as the other, so my girlfriend will be, I'm sure, delighted to be playing with me, but I'm sure she seems quite excited about playing with you, so there we go. So yeah,
cool
pub
quote.
quiz, and it will be a themed quiz. Obviously,
Who knows what it'll be themed around?
all Tolkien related, but it will be themed.
Well, indeed.
Cool. Okay, so
should we talk about food?
yeah, food at the pub.
Did you mention what they said?
Oh yeah, you mention it.
Yeah, this isn't set in stone yet. It's not set in the 7 stones yet. But because there's so many of us, there's nearly 50 people in there, they said that they think it's impractical to actually do that many main meals. So what they're likely to do is run a buffet for us. So I haven't had the menu through yet. I haven't emailed it. I'll have to chase them up. But what will likely be happening is we'll be charging something like a tenner a head, and there'll just be a big buffet.
Yeah.
So comment below, I guess, if you think that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
I think we haven't got an awful
get
lot of choice, but what we'll probably do is get an idea of how many people want to eat first,
Yeah.
and then order it for that many people.
Yeah. Because we do need to be able to book the pub for that time. They will want you to eat there. But that would be a good idea. We just send something out around, because I don't know whether we'd need to be paid in advance for that or not.
Probably want a deposit for food.
Yeah, they'll probably want the deposit. But yeah, we'll let you guys know close to the time. If you're strongly against that, or you're not going to be turning up to the pub quiz and you are attending the tournament, do just drop us a note, because that would be useful.
But we hope you're all there, because that's obviously going to be a kind of...
it's kind of an extension of the tournament. And
absolutely.
Most people went last time. I think there's only a couple of people.
Yeah, it was great.
And it was great fun. So there we go. Day 2. Doors open at 9:45, so a bit later, and the first game will start at 10:15, just to give you a chance to kind of... So you don't feel as if you're rushed in the morning on the second day. And we'll be starting... well, it's hold ground is the scenario. Then we'll have from 12 till 1 is lunchtime and the best army voting. From 1 till 2:45 is the next round, which is Lords of Battle. And from 3 till 4:45 is the final round, which is 7 Stone Domination.
It's domination with 7 objectives.
It is.
So we've deliberately put our complicated scenarios, arguably complicated ones, on day 1.
Yes.
So day 2, when even for our fun tournament, you might think it matters more, I suppose. they're very, very, they're scenarios you know, or one scenario with tiny little twists.
Because of the nature of the tournament, all the games matter quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
But then from 5 till 6 is the raffle draw and award ceremony. Hopefully we should be wrapped up by 6 o'clock so that you can head off home.
Yeah, that's the hope. But I imagine there might be a debrief drink as well.
Yeah, for those who aren't rushing off back north or even south.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will go to the pub probably for a drink.
Whoop whoop.
Yes. Okay, so should we talk about selecting the army?
Yep.
Do you want to take this bit?
I love this bit. So yeah, it is it's a doubles tournament. It's 800 points total, which means each player has to take 400 points. That has to be a completely self-contained army. So a fully legal. Each player has to have a fully legal army. Obviously, each team can only have good or evil. Can't have one person with good and evil. And very importantly, a couple of points. Each player's army has to come from one army list.
Yes.
So that means if we were going together, we will be there. My list would have to come from the Moria list, or Tom's list would have to come from the Mordor list, or the Angmar list. My army, my 400 point army, can't come from Moria and Angmar.
Yeah.
Okay, so you only get it from one faction. In addition to that, our army lists have to be different.
Yes.
The factions we pick. So we couldn't both take an army list from Moria.
However, if you do have a really nicely themed army that seems like an alliance, or it's just cool and it's from one list only, and you want to put that together, just drop us a note and we'll let you know whether we think that's cool enough to kind of qualify. And we've had a couple in like that and we've said yes to both of them. So you've got a very good chance as long as you're doing things for the right reason.
The point of this is to make people bring fun armies.
Yes.
And so if someone's come up with a fun army that doesn't quite fit this, we're probably going to let it through.
Yeah.
Because the idea is to create cool themed armies and stuff that people don't normally see in
we
tournaments.
want we want to see things that would naturally have an alliance. So kind of Helm's Deep elves and Rohan with Theoden, for an example, like Haldir and Theoden.
You might as well skip ahead because we'll give you one such example.
Yeah.
One thing that we actually put in here as an example.
That we'd allow, yes.
We could have player 1's army being the Balrog, so that's just 400 points on the nose, and then player 2 takes Durbar as a cave troll, the Goblin Drum, and about 24 goblins. And what that and a captain. What that basically means is what they're doing is taking the evil models from Moria in the film.
And not.
Yeah.
Not.
So there's no elites in there.
No shamans.
The drums in there, the cave trolls in there.
The Balrogs in there.
Yeah, and and the reason you couldn't bring that to our tournament is because both armies would be from the Moria list. But because that's clearly so cool, and things like the Balrog and the Goblin Drum are at least commonly thought of as being deeply uncompetitive, we'd allow that because it's a fun, cool army that people will go, oh, that's cool when you deploy it on the table.
Yes.
That's what we want people to be doing. So if your army for whatever reason doesn't fit into those criteria, but you think it's cool and fun, then email us.
Yes.
Okay.
At sbgmagazine@gmail.com.
Absolutely. So we've done that. So yes, those are the important limits, that each force has to be from one list and the forces can't be from the same list. No. But we're open to change for the right reasons.
There's one extra point that's important.
The hero?
Yes.
Absolutely. Each player's army, each player's force,
yes.
So mine and Tom's, has to include one hero who costs under 100 points, including all their war gear.
Yeah.
Okay?
And mounts, and mounts is under what?
Total cost of that model on the table has to be under 100 points. Yes. Both armies have to do that. We've done that for a couple of reasons. The most important one is to facilitate one of our scenarios, as we'll tell you about later. The other one is potentially to, again, slightly, it stops some potentially cheesy or hero lists, but doesn't seem to stop any fun or hero lists. That was our thinking. So it stops you taking, say, Isildur, Gil-galad, Boromir, and Saruman.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be able to do that just from which list they come from. You get the point.
Going for those kind of heroes, but it would still allow you to take like Thorin's Company. or the Fellowship. So it was that kind of thing.
Just to clarify, people like Elladan and Elrahim, Urin and Drad do not count as being below 100. You have to take what's in the profile.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, obviously then there's kind of common sense stuff, like each combined army can only include one instance of any character. Like so no Gandalf for me and Gandalf for Tom. The break point for the tournament is your combined total models between the two players' armies. So there's only one break point for the army, and each player nominates a leader for their army. And at the start of every game, you roll a dice to randomly see who will be the leader for that. Yeah, we stole that from Games Workshop's double events because they did that. And again, I like that because it means you don't know who's going to be your leader, so you need two decent leaders, which is fun. And yes, do you want to talk about the theme? Sure. So yeah, I mean we've kind of talked about this before, that we're really keen on people bringing a nice themed force. And yeah, throughout the day we'll be chatting to all of you about your armies. There's a chance for you to display them, but yeah, we want to know why you picked your army. You know, show us that it's really cool. And 5 of these armies, totally subjective, will be picked as best themed army nominees. That's by us. By us. Just by us too. So yeah, so definitely when you're coming along, make sure you have kind of thought about the narrative of the force, why you chose it, and yeah, if you want to kind of spruce up your army list with some background, anything like that will of course help. If you haven't, it's fine. Yeah. Like, you don't have to, it just means you won't be eligible for one of these. No, I mean you don't have to go to the extreme length of kind of sprucing up an army list and writing a backstory, but you know, anything that you want to do that's cool, go for it. You can even dress up as your that's not in the tournament pack, but there will be an award for best costume at the event. So we're very keen to, whether that's a t-shirt with your team name on or a full-on Smaug costume. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to feel obliged if you want to just rock up in a shirt like Damian here. Always. Feel free to, but if you do want to come up in something a bit cooler that ties you and your teammate together, I'm going to wear a t-shirt and see if I win it for costume. we will definitely appreciate those efforts, and we'll reward one lucky team. Absolutely. So yeah, what we're looking for in the armies is A, would the two armies have been likely to fight alongside each other? So that means you can't have Aragorn and Elendil. Yeah, you deploy your Glathrim and your Rohan infantry, and you're like, oh yeah, I get that. That's Helm's Deep. That looks cool. As opposed to you deploying your High Elves and Rohan. Yeah, so yeah. And so it's like, well, what is that? Why would they fight together? And if you found a good reason, or you have something from the fluff, then great. But that's the sort of thing. Yeah. Number 2. Oh, this is kind of the same thing as where all the named heroes are alive at the same time. So this is the Aragorn, Elendil, Gil-galad type. Point. Have the players given themselves a disadvantage in competitiveness in the name of theme? Which is a fun one. Yeah. So again, I think that's like the Moria thing. So you take the Moria drum, you take the Balrog. Doesn't mean you're going to instant lose. No. Oh, and you don't take Shamans. Yeah, and you take... It's just not that build. You take Theoden, Gamling and Harmer rather than Erkenbrand, Eöl the Young. Yeah. Okay. Essentially, a kind of... If you've got a Rohan army and it doesn't have Erkenbrand, that's ticking that box. Yeah. Because he's just an auto include, isn't it? Yeah, similar like Shamans and Goblins that don't take... Sorry, Orc and Goblin armies that don't take Shamans because, you know, there's no sign of them in the books or the films. No. Then we're going to look very fondly on that because you're deliberately, in the spirit of it, you're giving yourself a disadvantage. That's not to say you can't take Erkenbrand. Like, let's say you bring Erkenbrand and loads of Rohan captains, I mean, that's not going to be a problem. But yeah, we're looking for something that's cool, and you've not tried to do it because you're wanting to win. You've tried to do it because you want it to be cool. So yeah, on the flip side of that, the next question is: have any elements of the army been included purely to boost the army's in-game effectiveness? So yeah, like Shamans. Yeah, so this is going to be this one's going to be slightly harder now because you can't just drop a shade in. Because to have a shade, you have to have an Omar army. You can't just drop Alfred it. So the likelihood is, if you bring Alfred to our tournament, that's going to be absolutely fine. Because you've got 400 points of late town. Yeah. So here you're looking at, it's going to be a slightly trickier thing, but then like we said, it is subjective. And yeah, maybe if you find a Goblin army and it's just got Groblog and 2 Shamans, it's like, okay, you know what's going on there.
Yeah.
It's quite important that all these little points, they're just examples.
Yeah.
They're not the only things we're going to look at, and we don't consider them to have equal weighting.
Yes, and here is a big one. I don't know if you can read it. Is it really cool? That's that big thing. We just want it to look cool.
I want to see things that you haven't seen at tournaments before.
Yeah.
And we are. I know we've had some submitted lists and some people telling us about what they're bringing, and there's some really cool stuff already. Yeah. I know one that I'm very, very keen on.
Like, you're going to turn up to your table to play a pair, and you're going to think this is going to be a stonking game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who wins, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. Cool. So, yes, that's the army list.
Yeah, but the point of that...
I said about the 5.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so then of the 5, Damian and I will select a winner of Best Themed Army Award.
But more than that.
More than that.
The 5.
Oh, yeah, the 5, yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, but the best theme, so the 5 who get selected will get a prize, and the one...
A prize for the games?
Yes, but there's a kind of mini prize associated with it as well.
Yeah.
And then the winner will kind of get the same prize, but then we'll also get another prize on top of that for Best Themed Army. But yes, go on, David. Tell them all about it. You're very eager.
So the 5 armies that we think meet those criteria the most on day 1 are going to get a boost in day 2. So it won't affect, so this is the incentive, it doesn't affect your tournament position, but you are going to get, and it says this in the pack, you're going to get a Palantir. And you'll get to use the Palantir in all your games on day 2. Now, that is not Saruman's Palantir and Saruman's rules. You don't know what they're going to do, because no one knows what happens when you look into the Palantir. But
it's going to be something special.
Yeah, and we will tell you, what we're quite keen on, is that we're going to tell you on Saturday night and give them to you. Yeah. So you can then maybe kind of go around and brag about it on Sunday night, sorry.
Yeah, Sunday
and go and show people. So that's the incentive, that you'll get something. It won't affect your tournament position, but it will give you a better chance in your games on day 2, which could affect your tournament position.
Yeah, and they are pretty reasonable bonuses. Like they're not stupidly good, but they're not just a minuscule bonus.
But you won't know until you gaze into your Palantir.
No. And they are, because there are 7 Palantir, they're all different.
Yes, they're all different. So the 5 of you, you say, yeah, 5 of you for now.
5 of you for now.
Will have a different bonus on day 2. So that's the kind of one of the incentives for bringing a really cool themed army. And the idea behind that is that we'll be giving it to people who have disadvantaged themselves in the name of theme, and thus hopefully giving them a boost, but it's back on a level playing field.
Yes. Cool. Okay, this is all the special dispensation stuff that we've been through. Okay, how the tournament will work.
You should talk about it, because I don't understand.
You don't understand. So, we're not doing a Swiss rank tournament. We are going to do a cup. So a bit more like the World Cup, or anything like that. Any kind of tournament where there's...
Other cups are available.
Other cups are available, where there's a group stage followed by a knockout stage. So on day 1, because we've got 24 teams, multiple of 4, there will be groups, 6 groups of 4 teams. And day 1 will consist of you playing everyone else in your group. So that's 3 games. So yeah, and then you get 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and no points for a loss. And then the goal difference in inverted commas will be your VP difference. So how many VPs you score, take away the amount of VPs you give away in those games.
And we will announce the groups in advance in a video.
We'll do
I think we said a week before.
Yes.
So you'll know going into the event who your group is.
And there will most certainly be a group of death.
Yeah, hopefully.
Which you do not want to be in. So yeah,
you want to draw your San Marinos, don't you?
Yeah, you want to. Yeah, you want the.
You don't want like Spain, Argentina, Germany.
No,
oh no,
disaster. But we're not seeding at all, so it's just completely random. You could get anybody in your group. So yeah, that's how it's going to work. Now, obviously, I've just said there are 3 games on day 1, but then there is a 4th game on day 1, which isn't associated with your position in the group, that's all sorted, but you will still be playing against everyone in your group, but all at once in the Arena of Champions. So given slightly more away about it, but we won't go too much into it now. But the purpose of this fourth game is a bit of a wind down at the end of day one, and it's 2. Can you see where the 2 comes in? So we've had 5 previously. 2 more people may have a chance to win a Palantir in this game.
Absolutely.
Okay, then on day 2 we have the knockout stages. So after day 1, and we've got 6 groups, all of their sorted final group positions, and all the 6 group winners plus the 2 best placed, so the 2 with the most points and MVP difference from the second place teams will be taken into the Palantir Cup, which is kind of the top knockout tournament that we're going to do. So the eventual winner of that knockout tournament will win the tournament. Some heavy shouting outside Damian's house. Welcome
keep talking.
Welcome to Twickenham. Or maybe this is the Felton side showing through. So yeah, then, but don't despair if you didn't come top in your group or you weren't one of the best 2 second places. The next 4 second place teams and then the best 4 third place teams will go into the Palantir Plate, which is our next knockout tournament. And then finally, everybody else will drop into the Wooden Axe competition. So there will be 3 on day 2. There'll be 3 knockout tournaments going on at the same time. Now, again, if you lose in the quarterfinals, which will be the first game of day 2, don't despair. You don't have to go home. What we're going to do then is you will play another pair that have lost in that round, and you'll kind of play out for your position. So everyone will have a position at the end of the tournament.
So your games on day 1 in your group stage, they don't affect where you'll finish in the tournament. They affect which tournament you play in.
Yes. And there are prizes for each of the tournaments. Obviously, it'll be slightly better prizes for the better tournaments in inverted commas. If you've done better in your group, you'll be in a tournament that's playing for a better prize. But there's still always something to play for going into day 2. Like, no one is out of the running of anything. Yeah.
That's the hope, that even if you lose all 4 of your games, or 3 of your games, on day 1, you can then still win the tournament on day 2.
Yeah.
Win your tournament. Wooden Axe tournament, which I think is kind of fun.
Yes.
And kind of does that, rather than, I've lost all my games, so there's not much point in it.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to avoid with that.
Yeah, on day 2 everyone's kind of back to square one. Yeah. Now, obviously, because it's a knockout tournament, we need a winner from each game. So what happens if there's a draw?
On day 2.
On day 2. There will be no draws. We're not doing a penalty shootout, we're doing a super special dice-off challenge.
Don't play for a draw.
Don't play for a draw, because it's going to be a faff. But yes, we will have something reasonably exciting, more exciting than a penalty shootout to do for you.
But it's worth pointing out, if you draw, it will be down to chance.
Yes, there's a strong likelihood that you could get knocked out.
Yeah, if you draw, it will be down to chance who wins. We've deliberately picked scenarios on day 2 that don't lend themselves to draw.
Yeah.
We've got whole ground and Lords of Battle, don't we?
Yeah.
So that should mean that there probably won't be draws.
Yeah.
But if there are, it should be quite exciting.
Yes. Cool, I think that's...
So yeah, it's very, very different, and it might sound quite confusing, but we know what we're doing, and it'll all be kind of explained as you go along. But basically, you want to do as well as you can in your first 3 games on day 1 to figure out which tournament you're going to be in.
Yes.
In day 2.
Yes. Cool. Okay. And then the results of the tournament. So where you, the winner of the Palantir Cup, all the way down to last place in the Palantir Cup, and then the winner of the second tournament, the Palantir Plate, all the way down to the winner of the Wooden Axe, all the way down to the end. Those positions will be submitted to the GBHL League. It's an 80-point tournament, so the winner of the event will score 80 points towards the Great British Hobbit League, and everyone else will a bit less.
So it means if you get into the Palantir Cup, you will finish in the top 8 of the tournament for league points.
Yes. Cool. So what prizes are we giving away, Damien?
Loads.
Loads of prizes.
It's also, the funny thing is, it's doubles, so you have to get twice as many.
Which is a disaster for us.
What's that about?
We should be charging £100 a ticket.
But there will be prizes for the winner of the 3 tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
the winning team, I should say,
Yeah.
winners of the Palantir Cup, the Palantir Plate, and the Wood Nets.
Yeah.
There will also be prizes for the runner-up
Mm-hmm.
of all of them, so the losing finalists.
Yeah.
There will also be prizes for the best sporting team,
Yes.
most honourable team,
Yeah.
the best themed army, which
Yeah.
is the one that me and Tom Beck. So of the 5 that we gave the Palantirs to, 1 will then get an award
Mm-hmm.
on the day, and then there will be a best painted army,
Yeah.
voted for by the players.
Yeah. And there's also the best team costume,
Yeah, best costumes.
and there's the pub quiz as well.
Yeah.
So pub quiz team, but
Yeah.
that'll be a round of drinks.
There'll be a
for the
drink. Yeah,
team.
winning team will get a round of drinks as well.
So
lots of
alcoholic or
prizes.
soft drinks, whichever you want.
And we're very, very keen to have winners of the lower groups, so
Yes.
you get stuff like that.
Yeah, there's always stuff to play for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We're also going to run a raffle over the lunch times. Over the lunch times and breaks, we'll be coming around, and you automatically get 1 ticket with your entry. So that everyone's going to have a chance of winning stuff, but there are some pretty good raffles
Show
prizes.
2 of them.
Yeah, we can show 2 of them. We've got some pretty good raffle prizes on offer. And you may want to buy additional tickets, as Jay Finnegan does at Stockport, and he wins unsurprisingly because he's quite astute. He says Thranduil is quite an expensive model. If I get £10 worth of raffle tickets, I've increased my chances massively, and he goes and wins it, and then he's still making a huge profit on it.
This is not just an example. Thranduil is in the raffle.
Yes, Thranduil is in the raffle.
As is. Had to be done really. Tariel.
Yes.
So both of these 2 will be in the raffle. There's going to be more.
Yes. But these are what we've got so far.
Yeah, but you'll see. I think before we ask people to buy any more tickets, all the raffle prizes will be out.
Yeah,
So you'll
they'll
see
all
what
be
you're getting into.
displayed, and you can just get any tickets you want off us at the start. But it should be worth getting extra tickets. That is the plan.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so on to the scenarios. Do you want to start this, and then I'll take over a bit later?
Indeed. Yeah, I'd love to. Game 1 is Reconnoiter. It's exactly as described in The Hobbit and Unexpected Journey rulebook.
Very good.
Yeah,
I
so
thought you'd enjoy that.
Game 1 is Recon, as we said, 3 foot wide, so hopefully we'll get some models off.
Yeah, but that's
time.
the hope. The hope is that it's not going to be one of those games where you clash in the middle and it's just who breaks who and who kills whose leader. We want it to be models running off the board.
It is standard Recon, by the way. Obviously, normally at Titans they do the modified one, which I quite like and I'm a big fan of, but the reason we didn't is because we have modified or have customed 3 other scenarios.
Yeah.
And we just wanted, as much as possible, to go, we're really keen on those and keep the others simple.
Yeah, just so people
aren't know them. Yeah.
aren't too hung up on the thinking about how the game works before they go into it.
Absolutely. The deliberate point, actually, that we haven't talked about, the whole group stage thing, is that you shouldn't. You can always game it. You can always kind of try and come up with an army within the parameters and try and think about the scenarios. But there's deliberately a lot of things put in place to almost trip people up. And so you could get a situation, for example, where 2 named teams are in the same group.
Yeah.
Only one of them is going to win that group, potentially.
Yeah.
And the other one might not be the first
The
or
one with the
second
best
highest
place,
second scoring team.
yes.
So they might not get into the top
tournament,
tournament on day 2.
Yeah.
And that's very, very deliberate.
Yeah.
So that there are things put in place so that, it's kind of meant to be that the odd moment of heroicism here can suddenly put someone up and
let them in the big time.
Let them win and give them more of a chance. And so we've definitely tried to do that a few times and just build things in that hopefully potentially can trip people up, as you'll see, particularly in some of the custom scenarios.
Yeah.
But trip everyone up equally.
Yeah.
But just potentially allow for some more surprising results.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, it means in the knockout tournaments, say you do get into the top tier, if you lose a game, you can't come back.
Yeah.
You won't win the event.
Yeah. So there's no tactical losses. On
To
day
win,
2, you have to win
all
every
3.
game.
Yeah, to win the tournament, you have to win
so
all
the people
3.
who win the winners' prizes for each tournament have won all 3 games on day 2.
Yeah.
So there is no wooden spoon at this event. particularly. I mean, we might.
Yeah, the lowest 8 teams will play for the wooden spoon.
Yeah, so you're playing for the wooden axe.
Wooden axe.
But it's going to be the winner of the lower rather than the absolute lowest. Yeah. So there's still by all means lose all your games on day one, but on day 2 you want to be winning.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so game 2 is to the death, but we've modified it very slightly. Now, if you go to the rules pack, we have fluffed up all the scenarios as to why they've been picked from a Palantir point of view. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, go and read it. We've also shoved loads of quotes, Palantir-based quotes into the pack, which is quite cool. But yeah, to the death, we've modified it slightly because we get a little frustrated. You've probably heard on Palantir about the to the death.
We had to modify it, didn't we?
Yeah, we had to.
Because we've said in about 50 videos how it should be modified.
So it's the setup and everything else is exactly like the Hobbit and Unexpected Journey rulebook scenario or any of the sourcebook scenarios for to the death. But the objectives are different, so the victory point conditions are different. So you score 3 points, victory points, if the enemy force is broken at the start of a turn in which your force is unbroken. So that's new.
And that's a funny word phrase.
Yes.
And it's purely tournament legalese. What it means is if you break the enemy first.
Yes.
Yeah?
But, and you don't break each other on the same turn.
Yes. We decided what we want to encourage for to the death, the way we imagine to the death, is you should have to charge into each other, smash each other up fast, and then keep smashing each other up.
Mm-hmm.
So, traditional to the death, to me, says you run in, you break each other, then you run away, hide your leaders and banners. So, in this, you score 3 victory points. Just read it again, 3 victory points.
If the enemy force is broken at the start of a turn in which your force is unbroken.
So that means if one army breaks the other army in a turn where they don't get broken, they get those victory points. Yeah. We decided if they both get broken on the same turn, it shouldn't happen.
No.
Because then it's down to the luck of which order combat's
who's
going.
got priority and chooses which fights go first.
So to get those VPs, you have to break the enemy a turn before you break. Yeah? Or they work out as being broken a turn before you. Yeah. It needs to be on a different turn, essentially.
Yeah. Okay, so you score 1 victory point if your force broke first, so you're both, but the enemy force is broken at the end of the game. So if you were broken first, as in the enemy team broke you, but you then break them back, but on a later turn, then you score 1 victory point.
You only get 1.
So that would be 3-1 at that point. But if you both break each other on the same turn, it's 1 point each.
Yeah. So
the 3 combinations there are 3-0 if you are broken. If you break the enemy and are unbroken yourself, 3-1 if you break them first, and then 1-1 if you're both broken.
Yeah, so you don't, whoever breaks the enemy first doesn't drop down to 1 if the enemy then breaks them. It's a reward for breaking the enemy first. Yeah. Okay? And that's very important.
Yeah. Okay, so then leader, the leaders are exactly the same, so it's 1 point for wounding the enemy leader and 3 for killing them. And then we have an extra objective, which is you score 3 victory points if the enemy force is reduced to 25% of its starting number of models or below at the end of the game. So that's the incentive to keep on smashing up your enemy. Absolutely. For both teams. There's no first on this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game ends, doesn't it, at 25%. So you have to both do it in the same turn for this to get those 3 victory points. So it's a really, with it being 3 victory points as well, that's really important. So what could happen is you get broken first by the enemy, but you can bring it back by then smashing back through them, breaking them, and getting them to 25% and kind of claw victory.
Yeah, they break you, it goes to 3-0. You break them back, it goes to 3-1. You then reduce it to 25%. You win 4-3.
Yeah, we're kind of ignoring the leader factor in there. But yeah.
So the idea of that, the point of this scenario is that you'll charge in, you'll kill, but then once one side gets broken, there is still a strong incentive for both sides to kill, to keep killing, and try and get rid of everything.
Yeah. Then also on the point of there's no banner in there just because we think it's a little contrived to have a model that not all armies can take, given the benefit. Also, one kind of thing that we've not said on the kind of themed piece, if we hear stories that people have hid their leader for this scenario, like and not got the leader stuck in for whatever reason, you know, fair enough if you've got someone with an elven cloak and they're just back shooting, but if you deliberately put them behind a building and lie them down, then you're not going to be getting the most themed army. You want to be playing your army in the spirit of things.
Yeah.
So bear that in mind as well. We will have spies.
But I think the nice addition of this is that in our version, if you hide your leader, you're going to be significantly less likely to break the enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
Exactly. So hopefully it kind of helps that anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, there you go. Game 3 for you.
Okay, so game 3 is called Save the Stone, and this is our entirely custom scenario. So what's basically happened is that one side of your army, one player's force, has found themselves surrounded by the entire enemy army. So, I might as well need to run through the whole of this.
Yes.
Both teams are going to roll a dice. The team with the highest is the attacker. The two defending teammates then roll a dice, and the player with the lowest result acts as the guardians of the Palantir. The fluff behind this is that one side has got a Palantir.
Yeah.
The player with the highest results force will, so of those two, so one person acts as the guardians of Palantir, the other player acts as the relief force.
So say Damian and I have won and are the defenders, we'll have separate roles in the game.
The player controlling the Guardians of Palantir then places all of his force within 6 inches of the centre of the board. So all of my army goes within 6 inches of the centre of the board. All of Tom's army is yet to arrive. And the defending team, for this scenario, our leader will be Tom's leader automatically. Yes. So it'll be the one that's coming to save me. So imagine, the best analogy we can make of this is it's the rescue scenario from Destination Smell. Yeah. But as opposed to a warband, it's an army. Yeah. So my whole army gets deployed here. Tom's army is off the table.
Arrived.
Then the opposing team place all of their warbands for both armies on the board, but not within 12 inches of the centre of the board or within 6 inches of any board edge or from the captain.
Yeah, so you're in a little ring within 6 inches of the centre of the board, and then the enemy must be just out of 12 inches of the centre of the board. So there must be at least 6 inches and a smidgen between the enemy and you. So a normal mannish model couldn't charge on the first turn, but cavalry could charge in straight away. Things like that.
So you're going to have one player's army surrounded by the entire opposing team's army, which is pretty bleak.
Yeah.
The attacker has priority in the first turn.
So which makes it look even bleaker.
And the game lasts until the end of a turn in which one army has been reduced to 25% of its starting numbers or below. And this is how you get VPs. The attacking team score 3 victory points if the Guardians of the Palantir, which are the guys in the middle, are wiped out.
So that's to a man, none left standing.
Yeah, that entire player's army has to be wiped out.
So now that massive disadvantage, and you think it looks really bleak, isn't perhaps as bleak as you thought, because you just have to make one model survive to deny them those victory points.
Yeah.
So the idea is that these attackers go in and smash up that small force in the middle, but hopefully the small force can hold out just for the relief force to get there just in time.
Absolutely. And the defending team score 3 victory points if the attacking team is broken at the end of the game. Okay, so that's what they have to do. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of hoping that your tiny little army in the middle does a good bit of damage as they get taken down, and then your relief force comes in, hopefully does the rest and breaks them, but they only have to break them.
Yeah.
And then you score 1 victory point for wounding the leader, 3 victory points for killing the leader, like normal. Okay, so that's
and the leader again is in the attacking force, which means that your leader wouldn't be exposed in the middle.
Yeah, your leader won't be trapped in the middle right from the start of the game. So, and those are the only VPs. So the attackers just have to wipe out this army, and the defenders just have to hang on to this army, and then the defending team has to break the opposing army.
And also bear in mind, this is the third snow of the day, so this is potentially the league deciding event game, because the way we're going to do it is that game 1 will be completely random. Game 2 in the group will be the 2 teams that won in the first round of group games will play the 2 teams that won a game will play each other, and the 2 teams that lost that win each other. So going into the final game, it's probably going to be someone on 2 wins, 2 teams on 1 win, and one team on no wins, and it's going to
there'll be something to play for.
Yeah, everyone's going to have something to play for, and also this is, this could throw you this scenario. If your defender and you're up against something that's horrific for your army, you're in real trouble.
And this is, again, deliberately why I placed it here. Very, very deliberately. It's all down to luck.
Yeah.
Luck on your, because it's luck whether we only play it once.
Mm-hmm.
It's luck whether you're the attacker or the defender. And I don't actually think it's necessarily favoured to the attacker.
No,
because of the VPs.
Mm-hmm.
Because as well,
it's hard to kill
all they have to do as well is kill the enemy leader,
yeah.
and it will be a draw.
Yeah.
So they get wiped out, and that's very deliberately, but they will have a harder job of doing it.
Yeah.
But then also, it's completely random whose player's army is the guys in the middle or the relief force.
So you can't set up to have dwarves as one army and cavalry as the other army. So one could be the relief force, because then you could end up flipped and you have cavalry in the middle and dwarves being the relief force, which would be dire.
And that's all very deliberate.
Yes.
And we quite like that.
Yes.
And oh, by the way, that relief force arrives at the end of the defending team's move in turn 2.
Yes. So there's one turn of the attackers barreling in, and then the next turn at the end of they get to come on. So you get one turn of attacking, but then obviously because the relief force is coming on from a board edge. So does it say any board edge?
Yeah, just move on.
Just move on. So yeah, I guess it's like normal reinforcement. So it would be any. I think have we said any board?
I don't think we said any board. It doesn't say, but it's any board.
It's
any
any
come
board
on from anywhere on the table.
Yeah. So you can choose any, because it's a 4x3 board. So maybe it's advantageous to come on the short edges, but potentially the attacking player may have left a few people behind to stop the relief force, but bear in mind that you're having to wipe out that middle bit to a man, so you should really be concentrating on that middle bit. And we've not discussed it, but we should probably have a practice game of this at some, as in...
Oh, on a video?
Yeah, on a video. Yeah. We should video it.
Yeah, we should see how it goes. But there you go. That is game 3.
Yeah.
And that game will decide which prize you are playing for in day 2.
Mm-hmm.
So you play 3 games on day 1. Those 3, that's your group stage.
Yeah.
We'll then work out who the winners are. So who's going to play for what on day 2.
Yeah, so whilst everyone's doing round 4, I'll be on the spreadsheet getting all of the day 2's pairings together.
And round 4 is, I don't know, potentially one of the things we're most excited about.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Well, we can. I think this is long enough for us both to chat about it. But round 4 is the Arena of Champions.
So this came out of the last Stockport tournament.
Yes.
Where on the Saturday night everyone got a hero, and they all placed them on the edge of a board, and then we had a giant scrap, and it was tons and tons and tons of fun.
So it's a last man standing, all hero battle with multiple players.
It's like a Royal Rumble.
Yes.
But we decided immediately it was something we wanted to
We had to control the fun.
Yep.
And put rules on it. Mm-hmm. And we think these rules make it better.
We played it a lot of times, and it's a lot of fun.
Mm.
And it is. I know it's kind of 2 pages of rules in the pack because you have to do something different. Yeah. But it's cool.
Yeah.
And
it's easy to pick up. It's not too bogged down in loads of rules. It's just explaining, because it deviates from the way normal SBG works. We do need to just explain a few of those things, but we will record a video at some point of us playing it so that it's clear to everyone how it works.
I genuinely believe as soon as you play it for a turn, everyone will know exactly what they're doing.
Yes. Okay, so we're playing this on a 24-inch by 24-inch.
Yeah, 2 foot by 2 foot
board. And every team has their one hero who's under 100 points.
Yes. So this is why you had to include him in your army.
Yeah. Now, don't think that means you have to pick a 95-point hero to be competitive. How it works is that for every 5 points that your hero is under 100 points, you can then add an additional might, will or fate for those 5 points to make your model up to 100 points. So Dwalin is 95 points, so he gets 5 extra points to spend on a might, a will or a fate.
That's 1.
Now, you might think, okay, I'm going to pick a 20-point model and give them all the might. And you can't exactly do that, because what we've done is said, once you've picked a might, you then have to pick either a will or a fate. So you have to use up all 3 before you can go back to pick the one that you first started with.
So yeah, your choices are Dwalin and giving him probably an extra might, which is 100 points, or someone like Pippin, who's 10 points, leaving you with 90, which is 18 slots.
Yeah.
So giving him 6 might, 6 will and 6 fate.
To give him a total of 667 as his stats.
So what do you go for? Or somewhere in between.
Yeah.
So that's how you then mitigate against these.
Yeah.
Now you can use any hero that's in your army list.
Yes.
So for example, if someone brought the Fellowship of the Ring, they'd be able to put. I know you can't because it's 400 points, but you can put Merry, Pippin, Frodo, Sam, Gimli, Legolas. That'd be it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they're the ones under 100 points.
Under 100
you couldn't get Boromir in because he's just too much.
One of those could go into the arena.
We've had a question actually. Can you kind of dismount a hero or anything to get them below 100 points if you brought them? So no, it must be in your army list. You specifically have played with a hero that, with all the war gear and mount and everything, is less than 100 points. So you can't change anything that's anything from the hero that's been fighting with you on the day.
Yeah. So an added level of fun for this, we think, is that now players will be thinking about their army selection, thinking, all right, well, I need my who's going to be my hero for the Arena of Champions.
Yeah, especially because of one of the special rules, which I think we should come on to now. Special rules, allies until the end. Do you want to explain that one, Dave?
Yeah, that basically means that, bear in mind, you've got one hero per player. So you've got two on your team.
You've got two on your team, and we want them to we want you to play as a team as opposed to running off by yourself.
If they are within 3 inches of each other, they can use each other's might, will, and fate,
which offers up some very tactical opportunities. So you could put Dwalin with Pippin, and Pippin could supply Dwalin with the might.
So do you get two kind of decent heroes, or do you get one awesome hero and a might battery?
Yeah, so you could go Dwalin Gimli, but between them they've only got about 6 might.
Yeah. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, and we've not worked out what the meta, what the kind of the best option is to get, and we're looking forward to seeing some pretty interesting combinations.
We can discuss some of them we've had, because if some people think they're being incredibly clever, and the immediately thing someone responded to me when we played this was, what about Alfred? And I was like, do it.
Yeah.
So you can have Alfred, at which point he will go, he's 20, so he gets 16 boosts, so he's going to be something like 556, isn't it?
5, yeah.
Yeah, so he'll be like probably 5 might, an extra 6 will and 5 fate, giving him 9 will. He can then, at the start of the game, say you took him with Dwalin, he can give all 9 of those will to Dwalin. If he's within 3 inches of Dwalin,
you mean give him the might?
He'd spend the 9 will points.
Oh yeah, keep spending his
9 will points to give Dwalin lots of might. He can then, because he's within 3 inches of Dwalin, use all of Dwalin's will and give him more might. And we played it once, and Dwalin got up, I think, to 17 might, which sounds terrifying. But then guess what? The 3 other teams on the table all ganged up.
Yeah.
And the 2 heroes who died first were Dwalin and Alfred.
Because bear in mind, there's 4 teams on the table. So if there's one big threat, that could go down. So you might want something that's a bit less conspicuous. Yeah.
Like I've had an Uruk captain win this. Just a normal bog standard Uruk captain.
I mean, with defense 7 and strength 5, and you boost him its might, that's a pretty good profile.
So by all means, do the Alfred thing. It's quite fun, but you would of course need Alfred in your normal army.
Yeah, which means you've got to have taken 400 points of late time. So yeah, there's been some cool ideas for this one. I think it's great. But let's jump back a sec. So yes, in terms of how the game plays, so obviously you have 4 teams. So this is everyone in one group. So each group will have their own table. So this is you've already played everyone in your group, but we thought it'd be nice to keep things in the group for this. You roll for priority, and the team with the highest roll will deploy first. They choose a board edge, one of these 2x2 board edges, and they set up their 2 heroes together. It's anywhere on the board edge, isn't it?
Within 3 inches. You can't be within 3 inches. That was it.
Of the edge.
Ones, yeah.
Okay, you can't be within 3 inches of the edge.
Something like that.
Of the corner. Sorry.
Is that for round 2? That might be round 2. I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Just
touching the table.
Just touching the table edge. And then going around in order of the priority, every team will pick a board edge, and that's it for priority. Don't do it again. So the team that won priority in that first stage will move first. Now, how does it work?
It works that each player moves and fights individually. So we're a team.
Yep. So
I will move Legolas.
Yep.
I will shoot with Legolas. He then wouldn't fight because he's
shooting, and then
Tom will then move Gimli.
And it charge him into somebody and fight with him.
Yeah.
And
so what it means is we can, theoretically, Legolas can charge an enemy model, fight him, and then that combat ends, and Gimli can then charge the same model and fight him.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously then...
They're separate. They're both one-on-ones because we can't both charge in together.
Yeah.
Damien does its entire move, then I do my entire move.
And that was to stop that, wasn't it? It was to stop teams ganging up on people, which didn't seem fair.
Yeah. And that is called a turn for the purposes of if a model heroics strikes. So let's say Legolas charged into Grishnak heroic strikes. Then if I charged into Grishnak with Gimli, Grishnak retains that heroic strike for that turn. Or if there are any spells, let's say Damien has a ring wraith and immobilises the opponent, he would then be immobilised for when I charge in with my whatever gore bag.
So yeah, anything like that lasts for a player, a team's turn. Mm-hmm. Anything that lasts for a turn lasts for a team's turn.
Yes.
Not one whole loop.
Yeah. Now you can't call every heroic action under the sun. It's all about killing other models. So all you can call is heroic combat, heroic strike.
That's it.
And that's it. And you can obviously use might to boost your rolls.
Yeah. Because we don't want people kind of moving around and stuff.
Did we say you could heroic march?
I don't think so. No, I'm pretty sure it's just combat.
Say this. Heroic combats and heroic strikes. So yeah, no heroic marches from anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, we think that's pretty interesting, but that's why there's a bit of, it takes time to write that down. That Damien has his model, he moves, he does his thing, then I move, then I do my thing, then that's our turn done, and basically you just go clockwise around the table.
There's no priority
involved, so there's no priority. So you just have to
all
stay kind of stood on your side of the board.
We've played it a bunch of times and it's been fantastic because the tactics in it are really interesting. Quite what you do and who. If you end up deployed next to another team, do you attack each other or do you form some kind of committee and go off hunting other teams and stuff? And these alliances tend to form.
And do you try and kind of skulk back with Legolas and shoot whilst the other teams kill each other, or will that kind of tactic mean that the other three go, hang on a minute, we're going to go and destroy that Legolas?
So that's very, very interesting. And that's kind of how the game will actually play out. And as we said, I think there's bound to be there's bound to be a confusing rule or something that we haven't thought of. Things that could complicate it with things like Mighty Hero from Aragorn, but obviously Aragorn's too expensive, he can't be in there.
Yeah.
But that sort of thing where you get a free might
like
point
a
every
taskmaster.
turn.
Oh no, that wouldn't mess it up.
That'd be alright. But those sort of things, there's bound to be something in there, and we're just going to roll with it on the day and go and work out what seems most fun and most in keeping.
Yes. We will not be doing it based on the way the rule is written in terms of the wording exactly. Cool.
So yeah, each there'll be 6 of these games going on at the same time, one for each group.
Yep.
There'll be 8 models on the table, and you will be smacking the living heck out of each other.
Yes.
To the death.
Because bear in mind, some models might have 6 fate as well. So you're going to have to take some beating.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will be the last model standing, with the exception that if you and your teammate are the last 2 models left alive, then you don't have to kill each other.
And that's for a very good reason.
Yes.
Because once that's played out, and we reckon that'll take about an hour, somewhere like that, once all 6 games and there's either 1 model left standing or there is the 2 models from one team left standing, the 6 winners, so imagine there's going to be 1 model on each table, then go into round 2.
Which is a final. And this is just the winners, so the losers here won't be taking part in a round 2.
Yeah.
But this should be a lot quicker because you take the model that has just won on the might, will, fate, wounds, everything that has happened to it. If it had a mount to start with and that's been shut out, that's gone. You carry on and just move into the last game. So you could be all on death's door, but then having to go into the final round.
And it also, again, influences your tactics in game 1.
Yes.
Because you've got to potentially survive
you
game
need
2.
maybe you take one of your heroes to be the one that does all the dirty work in round 1 and keep the other one a bit safer, knowing that the second hero is the one that you want to go into the next round.
And imagine that in the very last turn, you're the last model against one other model and you roll a 3 to kill him, you've still got 3 might points and you need a 6. sure you can blow them all and kill him, or do you keep your 3 might in case you then win and go into the next game?
Yeah. But if you and your partner have both got a model left alive at the end, you don't have to kill each other. You can then choose between the 2 as to which one you want to go into the final round. You don't get both of them.
And in the final round, it's a 12 inches by 12 inches board, so it's going to be about that big.
So it should be over reasonably quickly.
6 models charging into each other.
What we want is for everyone to then crowd around the table. So all the people who've been knocked out already have to crowd around and kind of jeer or cheer for who they want to win. Because obviously, if they've been knocked out by somebody, they are not going to want them to win.
Absolutely.
So cheer for the opposition. That's the hope.
And then that last game, round 2 can't last more than half an hour.
No.
They're so close to each other and so weak by the time they get in there. But when there are 2 models, we'll do it to the very death, so there is a winner. But the last 2 standing, so the last 2 in that last round, will each win a Palantir.
Yes.
Just like the best themed armies.
Did we say the winner? The advantage of being the winner is that you'll get a drink at the pub. Is that what we said?
I think so. Yeah. I think yes, it does. I'm sure that's in there.
Yes.
So yeah, the 2 winners of the Arena of Champions, or the last 2 models, will get a Palantir. Now that can stack, for what it's worth. If you've already been awarded Best Themed Army,
yes,
and you're one of the last 2, you'll have 2 Palantirs,
you can have 2.
Which we're absolutely fine with.
Yeah.
But that's the incentive to win the Arena of Champions.
Yeah. No, we've not
plus the bragging rights.
Yeah, we've not actually said this, but on. There may be some other mysterious things going on the day.
Oh yeah, who knows?
On day 1 and day 2, potentially.
But
just as a smaller thing.
What will essentially happen is that at the start of game 4 there'll be 48 heroes duking it out. Yeah. And at the end of game 4 there'll be 1.
And it'll be really, 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 really interesting to see what that 1 is, because it could be Pippin.
Maybe we should have a book. Maybe we should run a book on it.
Oh my word!
We'll know what all the We should have a bet on it. Don't gamble, kids.
Yeah, no money involved, but people should vote. We should have because we'll know. Everyone submits it at the start of the day in the army list. So maybe at lunch on day 1, I'll put up on. Will we have a screen?
We could have a screen.
If we have a screen, I'll put all the arena heroes on the screen, and that should be fun to look through, and people can vote on who they think is going to win.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
Maybe anyone who gets it right wins a Freddo. But yeah, so that is the Arena of Champions. Yeah. It does sound complicated.
I get that.
Yeah, Bomber will smash it. Having played it, if you try it out, use the rules and try it out. I'm not going to give you my tip, but I now know what I would look for in a hero to go into it, definitely. But yeah, it'll be fun, I think.
My only thought is, what did I ever think? I was thinking Slingshot.
Ori. He's got so much might. Does it have to be a natural 6?
I don't know. I think it has to be a natural 6, but if you could give him might and to get the 6s, bang.
It's cheap, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think we're saying it's a natural 6. But that was my little thought. Cool. So anyway, we think that's cool, and that's the end of game 4. So then day 2's game.
Yep. Off to the pub.
After the pub after that.
And then on day 2 things get potentially a whole lot simpler. In that the first game is whole ground.
Yep.
Exactly as it is in the book.
Yes.
No changes.
And again, that's one where we'd probably modify the deployment in that we'd have it alternating between teams if we had it in our perfect world. But we don't want to make things too complicated for the whole tournament. It's just normal whole ground. Oh, are we running low? I popped it down there. Great content for the guys.
Just plug that in.
Or girls. I'll use guys
in a hey you guys sense.
Yeah.
There we go. And we're safe.
Yes. So then game 6 is Lords of Battle exactly as it is in the source books and rulebook. So yes, that was pretty easy for me.
And the final game.
Then this is the final.
Yep, this is the
grand final of all the games, but it also decides everyone's positions.
And it is domination, but it's 7 stone domination. So obviously the fluff is, work it out, the objectives are the 7 Palantir dotted around the table. But it's exactly the same as domination, except there are 7 objectives instead of 5.
Yes.
And whilst it is it is a complete coincidence. I think it's only fair that we give a nod to James. Because James, at the Stockport final, had domination with 7 objectives.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
It was really interesting. It worked very well.
Yeah.
And we haven't nicked it, honest. But it's just that we wanted... It needs to be the objectives of the Palantir and the 7, but obviously
because James had done it, we knew it already worked.
Yeah, and it's kind of that's been a helpful test for us. So,
we didn't have to play test this.
We're not claiming that we're the first people to ever.
Yes. Now there may be a situation where we haven't really worked out the measurements. We've just said instead of it being 12 inches between objective marker, as is in the normal rules, that you have to have 10 inches between them because there's 7 of them. There is probably a situation where you can get them to where you can break this and they're not within 10. They're closer than 10. If
you can't deploy the extra one.
If that happens,
move them.
Yeah. Deal with it. Yeah. either choose to move them or put one that's not quite within 10 inches.
I just
as close as possible.
This situation
get over it as
this hypothetical situation's come up before. And it was like, well, what if we deploy them so that we can't deploy them all? And your options are simple. You either move where they are, or you both sit there and don't play the game. I don't really mind which you do, but the answer is really quite simple. Don't try and break it.
Yeah.
Just put them where you want.
Yeah. That's it.
And that is our pack. And the most important rule is to have tons of fun.
Yes.
So yes, that's it. Hopefully. This will be interesting to people who didn't know about it and might want to write, but I think it'll also be hopefully helpful to people who are coming, particularly with the To the Death Arena of Champions.
Yes.
To kind of humanise some of those things.
Yes.
No one's questioned any of them yet.
No.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Normally, a lot of times you get a lot of
Q&A
questions appearing.
But I think did we write in the pack that we wouldn't be spending
only
time.
For Arena of Champions, we said like we're not going to FAQ every possible situation. But hopefully people are kind of giving some of those things a go.
Yeah.
But let us know.
Yes.
But that's our tournament. We're very excited about it.
Yeah, and we think the prizes for the main awards of the tournament are really going to be cool.
We've got loads of prizes already. They're in this cupboard over here.
Yes.
But we haven't got everything yet, and we're getting more. So we think there's going to be some good prizes and a lot of prizes.
Yeah, because Titans do a lot of prizes, and so do James and Jamie at Stockport. And I think it's really nice that it's not just the winner of the tournament that gets a prize. There's a good chance that if you turn up, especially the raffle as well, if you turn up, there's a very, very good chance that you're going to get something nice to take home. So your £40 ticket isn't just the enjoyment of the weekend. It's probably you've got a good chance of taking something nice away with you.
So that's the hope.
Yeah, and some stuff that's worth more than the ticket.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, easily.
Easily more.
Yeah. Particularly if you're taking your player's ticket prize.
Yeah.
That's £20. The prize, definitely the first place prize of the top 2 cups is more than that. Yeah,
and the best theme thing as well.
Yeah. So lots of stuff there. We're very excited.
Yes.
We think it is different, and I know if you just read it all, sat down and read it all, it could sound quite complicated because the format's different and the Arena of Champions. But trust us, like we wouldn't just go mad with this. It's deliberate. It's all there for fun. Like it's all there in a tournament that's about theme and fluff, so that you just turn up and don't necessarily worry about these things. It was trying to get away from that point after Game 5 where everyone's immediately trying to work out who's going to win and what people need to do, because it's going to be very simple what you need to do. On day 2 you need to win all your games. That's how you win the tournament. That's the only way you win. And there'll be 3 different tournaments.
And try not to draw, because you're going to have an excruciating
Super dice-off
challenge to win. So if that happens in the final, it's a disaster for you, because one of you will lose.
Yeah, imagine that. That'd be a great end.
Yeah, I know. But one of you will lose in a stupid fashion.
Yeah, but again, hopefully there wouldn't be draws on there.
No.
But yeah, so that's us.
Yeah. So check out the rules pack. Are you going to put a link in?
I could probably manage that. I'll probably do a link to that. And get on the Facebook page and get in touch with us if there are any questions or if anything confusing. Yeah,
and if you do play the Arena of Champions, even if you're not coming to the tournament and you've enjoyed it, or you've not enjoyed it, drop us a note, and we'd like to hear how things happen.
Just to give you an idea on that, we do want to put up a video of the Arena Champions, but ideally we'd like to do it with 4 people.
Yes.
We could do it with just me and Tom, each taking on the role of 2 players. They just won't have that same dynamic effect. So we will do one.
Yeah, but we're just waiting for an opportunity.
Yeah, we're going to try and do it with the right amount of people. If we can't, then and we get close to the tournament, we'll put it up just the 2 of us.
Yes. But
that will give you a really good idea of the kind of dynamic that happens when there's 4 of you crowded around the table trying to outwit each other, I think. And also just show you how the game works.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
But yeah, we hope to see you all there on the May Bank holiday.
Yeah. Cool. Well, as ever, don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Support your hobby.
And happy strategy battle game.